All right, looks like we're connected. We are connected. So let's go ahead and do this. Let me share it. You gotta share it everywhere. I gotta share it. You gotta share it. Let's see. So we're about to record the hijack number 348. So we're going to be talking about Valentine's Day. So let's talk about Valentine's Day and politics. I'm just sharing it on all the pertinent spots before we start. Valentine's Day politics. Ba-boom. Actually, that's a play on words, not only because it is Valentine's Day, and we're going to be doing some politicking here, but also because we have women's rights being taken up. That's kind of like our thing right now, is taking rights away from marginalized groups and minorities. So there is that. So let's go ahead and jump onto this thing here. I think we're good. I think we're ready to go. Let's do this. Coming in 40 seconds. It is receiving data. Here we go. 15 seconds. FM, I am DJ Swain. This is the hijack. Thank you for hanging out. Hijack number 348. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. We got a lot to talk about. Happy Valentine's Day. So, Valentine's Day is today. We're recording on Valentine's Day, and I was invited to this thing through the Hollerbox crew. So shout out Hollerbox and shout out Fair Villa. Shout out Joe from Fair Villa, who is bringing me into this Valentine's Day event at Hollerbox. And yeah, so I was thinking, and I posted this question earlier on TikTok on the Clock app at DJ Zwain. I said, you go to a Valentine's Day event and you hit it off with somebody. And you really like this person, but, I mean, how quickly do you bring up politics? How quickly do you bring up your political views when this person, when this hypothetical being that you see, you hit it off with? And on TikTok, most of the people were pretty one-sided, because obviously my algorithm is pretty political and leans pretty much to the left. So I had most of them would say that they would ask in the first question or two, which I probably fall more under that category. Some say third or fourth date, which is wild to me. I could not. There is no way that I could go 3 or 4 dates with you, like full-on dates with you, and we don't bring up the political topics. Like, there's no way. There's no scenario. That just means, if that ever happened, it just means that we were that incompatible that we've spent the last 2 or 3 dates trying to figure out what the hell to talk about. And there is no way that politics wouldn't have come up in the first anyway. Yeah, that's wild to me. And one lady, this one was the one that really stuck out to me. One lady said that she wished that she would have asked on her first date, because now she's 20 years in, 25 years in, and she is married to somebody who is a Trumper, and her son is a Trumper, and she and her 2 kids, her two daughters are leftists or left of center, American left of center. Let's be clear. There is no, both major political parties are right of center in this country. Full stop. So even if you are the most left-leaning person establishment-wise, you are only center-right, according to the rest of the world. And this lady has spent 20 years with this human, and now she is regretting it. This is the election. This is the election that she regrets it, and she is not alone. She is not alone. And I don't know about you, but in my case, I cannot separate someone's intelligence, personality, or any defining characteristics without without it affecting their politics. Does that make sense? I believe that your intelligence, your characteristics, and your intelligence and your personality, and your empathy have a lot to do with how you vote and your political leanings. I cannot separate those two. So for me, I know that there are people that can do that. I don't understand it. That is a level of cognitive dissonance that I just don't possess. I mean, look, if you make less than $500,000 a year or are an oppressed group and or are in an oppressed group, in both of these situations, if you voted for the right wing, you're voting against your interests, period. That's just all there is to you've did yourself a disservice. If you make $500,000 a year or less, and if you have a year-round tan, or like people that are the same sex, or are trans, or whatever subsect of oppressed group you might be, if you did that, I'm sorry to tell you, you voted against your interests. I can't imagine pursuing a relationship with someone whose politics don't align with mine. I just can't. Like, that is a completely, different, that's just another level that I just can't do it. So, I'm always going to vote for the further left that I can that is practical. That's the only way that not just practical, but realistic. People are like, oh, well, why don't you vote Green Party? Because here, the way that they set this up, it's not working. I mean, hell, we had Bernie Sanders join the Democratic Party. A bona fide socialist joined the Democratic Party, and even he, as a Democrat, was replaced, was told, it is not your turn. It is Hillary's turn to lose. Because, believe it or not, had Bernie Sanders won that election, we would be talking a whole different thing. It would be an entirely different conversation. The right wing is is controlled by big money and religious bigots. Really big money. The religious bigots are pawns in the whole thing. The religious bigots are just pawns. That's why Roe v. Wade is being overturned, even though most of MAGA, I believe, the majority, I would say the majority of MAGA would be pro-choice. Most of the things that are about to happen are going to affect the people, the red hats. And I ain't talking Linux. So, but my new favorite way to ask about your political views is, what did you think of the Super Bowl? And not even what did you think of the Super Bowl? Because it's less what did you think of the Super Bowl? But obviously that is the question that you're masking. So, but I'm not talking about the score. I'm not talking about Travis Kelce. I could care less about any of that. I'm talking about the real MVP.
Well, a man with a Palestinian and Sudanese flag got onto the Caesars Superdome field during the Super Bowl, interrupting Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance. The man could be seen waving the flag and then running around before ultimately being tackled by security. The NFL released a statement after it said, "We commend security for quickly detaining the individual who displayed the flag. He was part of the 400-member field cast. The individual apparently hid the item on him and then unveiled it late in the show. No one involved with the production was aware of the individual's intent. The league also said that individual will be banned for life from all NFL stadiums and events."
Oh, who cares? Who cares? That's awesome. Good for him. We need to find his name. I need to find his name. I think I found a you know what? I think I found a video interview with the halftime show protester. Here we go.
Now a producer.
Beautiful. Found it. All right, let's watch it. This is great.
Now a producer turned protester has raised Palestinian and Sudanese.
Let's pull up. There we go.
And Sudanese flags in front of thousands during rapper Kendrick Lamar's halftime show at Monday's Super Bowl. Zulkarnain Nantambo says he was part of the show's production team. He says the gesture was meant to raise awareness about Israel's war in Gaza, as well as the civil war in Sudan. Nantambo was detained and questioned by security, but has since been released. Well, Zulkarnain Nantambo joins us live now from Miami, Florida. So your protest video holding up the Palestinian and Sudanese flags at the halftime are all over social media. Tell us a bit more about why you decided to do this.
Alhamdulillah. Well, I felt I didn't have a choice because I was selected to be a part of the halftime show, and when I saw what my position was, it was a great stage, a large stage, and we know as a practicing Muslim, our Prophet Muhammad teaches us if you see a wrongdoing or you're aware of a wrongdoing, you must stop it with your hands. And if you can't stop it with your hands, stop it with your tongue. Speak out against it. And if you can't stop it with your tongue, try to stop it with your heart, meaning pray about it. And we know that's the weakest of faith. So I had an opportunity on a grand scale to bring awareness or speak out against a wrong of our Muslim brothers and sisters, because we know if one part of the body is hurting, all of the body is hurting. This ummah is one body. So I didn't want to face my creator and not with a sign of weak faith when I knew I had an opportunity to show.
That is, I mean, the fact that religion is what brought him to do that. Like, it's still, I separate both at this point. I am an atheist, basically. So this is like the fact that we're both coming to the same conclusion, that it needs to be spoken about. It needs to be put to the front of the front of everywhere. That says a lot.
I didn't have weak faith. community.
So let me ask you, do you have any cultural or family links to either Palestine or Sudan, or was this purely a gesture of humanity and support for those affected by these wars?
Yes, humanitarian. Yeah, humanitarian. I'm a humanitarian and I'm a Muslim. So we're spiritually connected in Islam, and we're human. We're connected with empathy for humanity because we're all human beings, God's creation, and they're oppressed. And we know God answers the prayers of the oppressed. They are suffering. They're treated with injustice, and it's on a wide scale. And nobody is really giving it the light that it should get, at least working toward a change. And I wanted to show the solidarity to those afflicted by this and their families and loved ones, that they're being remembered here in America. And they're being remembered here in America, not just by me, but by others. And it'll strengthen all of our faith. It was not about a countryman. It was more about spiritual.
Okay, let me jump in and ask you, I mean, do you think the protest or your protest is likely to damage your career? Are you worried you may find it difficult to get work again, given what happened?
I trust in God, brother. I wanted to pass that. I fear God more than I fear man. I fear loss of wealth. I fear loss of anything else. I fear losing the pleasure of Allah. And it was clear to me with the signs of the show that Kendrick had the American flag and human bodies. He had his PG Lane flags, and it was also many signs for me to show those flags to show how we're all connected.
Yes, because I think you mentioned in a previous interview that Kendrick Lamar was a source of influence for your protest at halftime. So what was it about Lamar that you drew inspiration from?
It wasn't a source of inspiration. I believe I was inspired by a creator, but he was confirmation. Seeing his show, when him talking about the revolution being televised, him having scenes where the American flag is made out of in a human formation, him having his own company's flags flying around. I saw those all as signs for me to incorporate the flag. Him having Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam, the whole theme being conscious revolutionary to make one's consciousness rise and show unification of people. And I thought that I could contribute to taking it to the next level with this activism and protest and enlightenment to make other people aware of what's going on in other parts of the world. A lot of people didn't know what was going on in Gaza. A lot of people didn't know what was going on in Sudan, and they feel like they're not being represented properly. So I had the opportunity to represent them on a global scale, and I had to take that opportunity.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, yeah, no, that's a great great thing by this guy. He is going to be remembered as an activist for this movement. I think it's a fantastic gesture, and it's on the largest stage, man. You can't beat that. You can't beat the stage. That is the largest stage in the world, probably in the country, definitely in the country. And he was able to do that. That was phenomenal. So shouts to him. I think that you are bound to see more and more of that and more activism, not just about Palestine, although a lot of it about Palestine. You're going to see a lot of that happening throughout the country and probably the world. A lot of interruptions of main events with activism. So I'm looking forward to more of that. One of the things that I think that will happen is protesting the SAVE Act because of all of the details. Here's a quick one. This is out of USA Today. USA Today kind of briefly explaining what the SAVE Act is.
The Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, or SAVE Act, has been reintroduced by Texas Representative Chip Roy. The act calls for in-person proof of citizenship documentation, like birth certificates or passports, when registering to vote. Its goal is to prevent non-citizens from voting. It is already illegal for non-citizens to vote. Safeguards like providing a social security number when registering are already in place. However, the SAVE Act could present obstacles for millions of married people who have taken a spouse's last name. According to Newsweek, the SAVE Act does not list marriage certificates or proof of a name change as forms of acceptable ID. If people who have changed their names do not have a passport, registering to vote could prove to be difficult. The SAVE Act was first introduced in 2024.
So that's huge. And I know the argument to that is going to be immediately, well, it's only they're only putting together basically the argument is they're going to fix it later. Like they're going to add these things later. And whether they are or they aren't is kind of irrelevant because it's already illegal to vote if you're not a citizen of the United States. They already ask you for identification and social security number. They have your social security number at the place. Oh, and I didn't even get to the Super Bowl to Kanye selling Yahtzee t-shirts. But that was something crazy that happened during the Super Bowl. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next, actually. But this SAVE Act is just an inching closer. They already took Roe v. Wade, and now not only that, but on a number of levels, women's rights are being thwarted. Not only are we talking about Roe v. Wade, not only are we talking about something like this where your birth certificate and your passport could have two different names, and your marriage certificate is not one of them. Like that's one. That's just so that's women. That's assuming that's married women. Traditionally, married women would have a much harder time, and in some cases, it's going to be impossible for them to vote. Oh, but they could change it. Yeah, they could change it. And they could just they could change it so that it's one household, one vote. There has been talk about that. There are people that I went to high school with who believe that women should not vote and there should be a one household, one vote type of situation. There are people that are saying this out loud in public. That's insane to me. That's what they mean by Make America Great Again. It's Make America Great for straight, cis, white males. And sometimes, occasionally, if you're one of the good ones, some of you people with year-round tans can hang out. But only if the state agrees will you be able to be married. At least in the state of Tennessee. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee signs law that allows people to refuse to solemnize marriage licenses. You remember a few years ago with that lady? The hell was her name? That didn't want to sign. Was it in Tennessee? I think it was in one of those states. The Tennessee Republican Governor Bill Lee signed a bill on Wednesday that allows people in the state to refuse to solemnize or perform a marriage if they disagree with it. Last week, Tennessee state lawmakers passed HB 878, which states a person shall not be required to solemnize a marriage. In Tennessee, only certain people can solemnize the rite of matrimony, including state notary publics, government officials, and religious figures, according to state code. According to Tennessee Code Title 36, which sets out the state's rules on marriage and license requirements, before being joined in marriage, the parties shall present to the minister or officer a license under the hand of a county clerk in this state, directed to such minister or officer, authorizing the solemnization of a marriage between the parties. HB 878 has drawn criticism since it was proposed last year. So, Camilla Taylor, the Deputy Legal Director for Litigation for Lambda Legal, an LGBTQ legal advocacy group, said that the law is an effort to roll back recent progress by the LGBTQ community. This is what we're dealing with now, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. People like this guy are going to try to roll back all of the progress that we've done when it comes to civil rights, when it comes to human rights, when it comes to bodily autonomy. They've already done that one. And hilariously, you know what? I was naive enough when Roe v. Wade was overturned. First, I didn't think that they were going to allow it to happen because both the Democrats and the Republicans need a boogeyman to fight against. And so then the boogeyman that the right has, well, that's no longer the case because Roe v. Wade was overturned. So, like, now what's next? Who's their boogeyman next? And I thought there is no way these guys could make it, like, you know, make immigrants that much the enemy. Like, the enemy. Like, right now, the immigrants have taken the place of, like, abortions at this point because Roe v. Wade was overturned. How insane is that? Like, now the priority list of hatred has moved to immigrants. Like, that's the you know, that's the way that's the new boogeyman. And now a lot of the people on the, you know, the NIMBYs on the left and the ones on the right, I don't think they're even called NIMBYs because they don't want to, it's not in my backyard, so that would be not in my NIMCs? Whatever. The point is that we have normalized things that are very familiar. They smell a lot like 1930s and early 40s Germany. So there's a lot of that going on right now, and I got to tell you, it's a little scary. Not only is it scary, it is it's sad, man. I hate to make the comparison again about it being idiocracy all over again, but it is. We have TV people running the country, and TV people and billionaires. TV people and billionaires. And here's the thing. You have things like when people talk about the fact that you don't believe that a presidential election will affect your life personally all that much. That is a level of naivety that I would expect from a 12-year-old. We are a month and a half in, and I can already tell you that those tariffs are going to affect the entertainment community. They're going to affect the nightlife community. They're going to affect steel, so, you know, housing. Like, there's so many things. Almost every facet of your life is going to be affected. Those people that believe that it never affects you, number one, then vote local, because that really affects you. But those people, the people that make those statements, don't say it because, like, oh, we're just going to vote local. They just say it's not going to bother me that much. And that is a level of privilege. That is a level of privilege that I wish I had. I can't keep my mouth shut. And I know that I've already removed a couple people from my friends list, and I've been unfriended by some. More than likely because of my political stance, my political views, my political posts. And that's perfectly fine. And to them I say, good for you. Find your peace. I'm glad you have set your boundaries. But I'm not going to shut up. because the bigotry is already getting a little bit too close for comfort. I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and somehow my birthright citizenship could be in jeopardy, could be in question. Something that's been in place for over 100 years. Like, just the fact that it's a remote possibility is insane. By the way, you remember when in the 90s when we would throw eggs and shit at each other, eggs and TP at each other, and now it's like flexing? Look, so much has changed since I moved here from the Dominican Republic by way of Boston. ICE, just stay the fuck away. But yeah, somehow my birthright citizenship is being questioned. Might be in question. So you think I'm gonna? If you think that I'm gonna go quietly when shit like this is happening, not just to me, but not to me, yet, but to people that look like me, I'm gonna use every little ounce of privilege that I have, every little modicum of privilege, to help those that can't help themselves because of what's happening here. And I'm talking LGBT, I'm talking brown, I'm talking black, I'm talking marginalized groups. And someday, you not yet billionaires that keep glazing billionaires will realize that there is nothing but it's a class war. And they are winning because they are using you. And the easiest people to use are the religious people. I grew up as a religious kid. I grew up as an evangelical Republican. And my God, dude. That was... Some of the things that I would say back then were embarrassing. Embarrassing. And, I mean, there's a lot of really good Christian music out there. But most of it is absolute dog shit, and it's because it's so easy. You put an ictus on something, and boom, you get the most grace for shitty music if you just put the little Jesus fish on there. It's hilarious. Oh my God! And don't even get me started on the movies. What was the name of that movie that we used to watch? What was it called? The Left Behind series. What was the name of this guy? The name of the guy. Anyway. Simpler times when I didn't have to worry about whether or not my sister can get married in a year, or whether or not I'm gonna be still an American. I'm still an American. This cartoon of a presidency is not gonna change that. So to the people that believe that presidential elections don't affect you, this show is dedicated to you. Now, here's the thing. Here's a way that it might affect me, actually. As many of you know, I'll be DJing in front of the Merita Bread Factory sign alongside Brenda from Bungalower. And we, Brenda Bungalower and I, have Cole Neesmith to thank for that. And, I mean, February 21st to the 23rd, there's a thing called Immerse Festival going on in downtown Orlando. And these events are largely done by things like, grants, I imagine, but also like buying things that are inexpensive because they're made overseas. And that makes it a lot harder when you have, 20%, 30%, 40% tariffs on things. Now, Cole sat down with somebody from the Orlando Business Journal, Richard Balbeo, I think is what his name was. And he talked about exactly this. Now, I suggest you check out the full podcast. It's at bizjournal.com. But this is something that Cole wrote when posting about the topic, and I feel that it explains it so well that I'm just going to go ahead and read it. Cole says, I wanted to share with you how this is affecting us. TLDR, the taxes we are having to pay to the U.S. government in tariffs have risen from 8 to 43% as a result of 2 executive orders by President Trump. Tariff increases are a big deal for our company. For our company clients and customers. Let's just take a single strand of Christmas lights. Say that your base for Christmas lights is $10. In 2016, we would have paid an 8% duty on those products. That means that the cost to us, a business in the U.S. importing those goods, would be $10 to the manufacturer and an 80-cent tax paid by our company and passed on to our customers to the U.S. government. In 2018, President Trump imposed an additional 25% tariff on that strand of lights, raising the cost to $13.30. $10 to the manufacturer in China, $3.30 tax to the U.S. government. And I will clarify again, tariffs on Chinese goods are paid by companies in the U.S., and those costs are passed on to the customers. In the beginning of February, an additional tax of 10% was levied for that strand of Christmas lights. That makes the new tax paid to the U.S. government a total of 43%, $10 to the manufacturer in China, $4.30 per light strand to the U.S. government, for a total of $14.30, and we buy thousands of strands per lights annually, paying an additional $4.30 in taxes to the U.S. government per strand of lights. In under a decade, the tax paid to the U.S. government has risen from 8 to 43%. Some say, well, let's just have the strands made in the U.S. My response to that is, absolutely would love to do that, but we can't. The United States lacks the infrastructure, supply chains, and workforce to manufacture the LED products. I've done hours of research trying to find the alternative and to find alternative suppliers in the U.S. and other countries abroad. If you'd like to point me in that direction, please do so. To no avail. This is it. This is the case for our entire sector. We are all taxed like this. All of our companies, clients, and customers have to bear the weight of increasing egregious import tariffs. But this is not just our industry. That 10% tax applied in February of this year is to every single good imported from China, and in 2018, and that 2018 tax applies to $370 billion worth of goods we Americans buy from China each year. That is insane, man. Thank you to Cole for sharing this and for posting it. This is a massive. He closes with, "This is a massive challenge as we continue to try to produce stellar events at an affordable rate. It's impacting the most small businesses around you, and its primary cause is the rising sticker prices you see on the goods we buy every day." That's so well put. Thank you, Cole, for posting that and for speaking to the Jacksonville Business Journal and the Orlando Business Journal, I guess it was. But Cole makes such a great point there, and it affects not only him, but it affects me too. And it affects all of the people that I know in these industries. Where do you think we buy our lights? Even the lights that are brand name from here, where do you think they're made? Just because you're not paying the tariff yourself, and then 6 months from now, your very short goldfish-ass memory is going to be like, oh, well, why is this so expensive? Yeah, you remember those tariffs that Cheeto Mussolini loves? Yeah, that's why. So, I mean, look, we've descended. We are slowly increasing our descent to fascism. And again, I want to make it abundantly clear. According to the rest of the world, we've been right-wing, extreme right-wing. We've been basically fascists at this point. And it's not even helping us. It's only helping a few people. It's only helping a few people. We have cartoonishly evil, dumb people running our country. We have somebody like Pete Hegseth running our military. A TV host that spent some time in the Army. And now he's getting torched for a racist move on recruitment. Let's see. This is out of newsrepublic.com. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's decision to withdraw Army recruiters from the nation's top black engineering event has ushered blunt criticism from military leadership. It's fucking racist, one active duty Army general told military.com on the condition of anonymity. For the Army now, its blacks need not apply, and it breaks my heart. The Baltimore-based Black Engineer of the Year Awards, BEYA, has historically been a key event for the Pentagon to recruit high-caliber STEM talent. One Army recruiter told the Service Member News outlet that BEYA is one of the most talent-dense events we do, and that the branch needs the talent. BEYA, in turn, recognizes on its website that the U.S. military is one of the largest STEM employers in the nation. But despite its abundance of talent, recruiters were concerned that attending the event could infringe on Donald Trump's anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion executive orders. This is what DEI means, people. This is what DEI means. The handicap ramps, that's DEI. All of it, DEI. On January 31st, Hegseth declared that Black History Month, Women's History Month, and other Heritage Month observations were officially dead and would no longer be recognized by the military. And on Monday, Hegseth made the first move in implementing Trump's transgender ban on the armed forces, initiating a pause on integrating new trans troops. And it continues. But it is still not for the best of the country. It is for the best of a few people. It's not even for the best of Americans. We have a South African dude running the country right now. And First Lady Donald Trump does whatever he says. And his swastikars are dropping like a shit from heaven. Nobody is buying the Teslas anymore. By the way, swastikars is what I'm calling those things from now on. Swastikars and swastikrucks. And guess what? At first, it was AI. And ChatGPT was the thing. And then DeepSeek came over for a fraction of it and took us to fucking school. Took the billionaires that run that thing to school with DeepSeek. And that was AI. Now, Chinese EVs obliterate us. I'm just going to watch a little bit of this.
A huge announcement that could potentially change the EV industry. Let's put this up there on the screen. News came out of China just yesterday. BYD will now offer, quote, God's Eye self-driving system on all of its models. So BYD obviously is the largest electric vehicle maker in China, and it now has a quote unquote advanced self-driving system. Now, every video I've watched says it's roughly equal to the Tesla full self-driving. It has some important differences that the L3 nerds will dig into, but let's just say it's better than what's on your Toyota or your Honda CR-V assisted autopilot. So we leave it at that. But the extraordinary part of it is not the real fact that it's rolling out, but the fact that it is now installing it on every single model that they sell, including the Seagull budget hatchback, which it currently retails in inside of China for $9,600. Yes, you heard me correctly. This is a huge deal because it challenges the Tesla market share abroad. So in the United States, obviously, you cannot buy BYD, you can't buy any of these Chinese EVs. But China, which we're about to get to, is a net exporter, actually, of cars. Their electric vehicles.
Let's take a look at their electric vehicles real quick. Sagar's great and stuff, but let's take a look. Check this out.
Which is a big deal because there's currently no China.
So you got to see here what we are
This is a guy. This is a guy. What? I'm an idiot. Watch this.
missing out on.
What is up, guys? Right behind me is a car from China. Which is a big deal because there's currently no Chinese manufacturers in America, which is kind of a shame because this car is really cool. So obviously you can use your key, or you can leave your key at home and use NFC. This car is a plug-in hybrid, and on just the battery, it can do about 60 miles, which is more than any plug-in hybrid in America. And on a full charge and a full tank of gas, it can do well over 650 miles. If I push the button on the side of my seat, that'll fold down my armrest. My seats are heated, ventilated, and massaging. I have an area right down here for my phone. I have built-in sunscreen shades. If I push this button, my cup holder comes out, and I can do this. I'm 6 feet tall for reference. You can be 7 feet tall and still lounge back here. But what if I want to watch a movie? A TV can't fold up into this small space, but a projector can. Yeah, this is pretty sweet. You also get a built-in fridge.
A built-in fridge.
Behind me is what $8,400 can get you in China. This is the Wuling Bingo. It's a tiny 4-door EV. It starts at $8,400, but even fully loaded, it's only $12,000. You get full LED lights, these tiny cute wheels, and it can do 250 miles on a full charge. You also get a lot of space in the trunk.
You guys see what I'm talking about? I mean, look, let's be honest. These cars are sick. There's other ones, not even BYD. I can't pronounce them, but the self-driving tech, the lounge, and they retail for like $60,000. There are several like Japanese similarities, not EVs per se, but
we are getting ripped off. We're getting ripped off in healthcare. We are getting ripped off in all of it. And you know why this is happening? You know why this country, why China is able to do that? Because they actually invest in innovation. They invest in innovation. They think of the future. They don't let the gambling casino that is Wall Street run everything. They don't let insurance companies run everything. Yeah, they may have some issues with their government. Don't get me wrong. But the citizen in China's way of life is generally speaking better than here. They call these things ghost cities that they built in China. Ghost cities, right? And these ghost cities, Americans and everybody's like, oh, they're so weird. That's so creepy. They're building for the future. They build and then people show up and they get moved. And yes, they have eminent domain and all of that jazz, but we have eminent domain here. We have eminent domain here, and we don't use it for anything good. So like there's a ton of these guys have AI and way better cars. $8,500? The price of a decent older 4Runner? And I can get myself a brand new electric car that has 250-mile range on a full charge? I mean, I'd probably get a different color, but are you kidding me? They're going to have self-driving available to all cars without having to spend $100 a month like you do with the Swastikars? I'm glad that Tesla's numbers are dropping like a shit from heaven. I am so glad. But this is what happens when most of the money goes to Wall Street and goes to the financial industry and insurance and not innovation. This is why China is years ahead of us and why they will continue to be years ahead of us, because we decide to hire cartoons. We decide to hire the worst kind of cartoons, the kind of cartoons that remind us of 1930s to 1940s Germany. I don't believe that we are that far away from like Americans to realize that it's fascism. I just think that most of them are just not going to care. That's what I think the issue is. Most of them are just not going to care. And look, say what you want about the wussy, covert, corrupt liberals and Democrats. Say what you want about them. But they don't cozy up with Nazis. Nazis don't feel comfortable around leftists. But the further right you go, the more comfortable these people are with this. This is actually out of the damage report. Part of the TYT. Part of the TYT family of shows, I believe.
1 week into Donald Trump's second term, and there are some people very excited about it. You can probably tell from the B-roll that they're not the best people, but yeah, no, neo-Nazis are apparently very psyched, very hyped about the opportunity now presented to them to get their message across, to do recruitment, to not be as restrained on social media as they might have been. And so we're going to start off with a little bit of video of the Patriot Front rallying in D.C. This is during the annual March for Life, where both Donald Trump and J.D. Vance were there. So here's a little bit of footage of that. Oh, so they can wear masks. But anyway, look, not a big fan of them, obviously, but I do want to give credit to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance because they actually stopped their prepared remarks to make clear that those sorts of organizations are unacceptable, that there will be no tolerance for that sort of hatred and violence. So let's go to that footage now. I'm joking. No, of course, that's the thing that happened. They'll probably be in the administration soon. But anyway, they are excited. And so one neo-Nazi account on Telegram posted, "Be ready to cash out the next 4 years. Get the bag. Infiltrate existing institutions with power. Build new institutions while we have breathing room. And tear down anything leftist." Goes on to say the left is exhausted, which, you know, not untrue. But anyway, extremely unpopular and has been divested from by their tech bro backers. When were the tech bros ever boosting the left? Anyway, now is the time to openly advocate for ourselves. Now is the time to go from defense and survival towards organizing and swift action. And you even have big organizations like the Aryan Freedom Network. This is a neo-Nazi political organization that has chapters all over the country saying that we're going to go track down companies harboring these illegal migrants. And so they not only want to organize for their own sake, but they want to get involved in some of the marquee policies of the Trump administration. And you can sort of see, Tori, why they might be excited. Not only has Donald Trump said that these organizations like the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, maybe there's a role for them in politics these days, now that he's released some of them from prison. But Elon Musk has been doing vigorous, 1940s era calisthenics on stage. And so if I were them, I'd probably be excited too. But what do you make of all this?
Well, I do want to say, first off, I'm a very proud Jewish woman. I dye my hair blonde, so you can't really understand and see that. But yeah, I am a very proud Jewish woman. And I went on Instagram on Daytime Talk After Dark. It's about at 1 million views right now. And I called out what I saw, which was the Nazi salute, and I saw it twice, and I saw it with conviction. And then I saw Elon Musk go to the AfD, which is a hard right-wing party in Germany, and speak about not feeling the guilt of the past in Germany. So all of these patterns are leading to what I call the playbook. International Holocaust Remembrance Day was on the 27th yesterday, which was making this all the more sort of uncomfortable and the wound a little bit deeper. But I want to be clear about something. We as Jews always say we will remember. And many people say, why do you want, of course, you don't want it to happen again, of course. Why we remember, John, is because normal people started to comply with really horrific things.
Yep.
And the normalcy of that is what we remember. So I want people to understand it doesn't start with gas chambers. I mean, we say Nazis and we picture that immediately. It starts with two things I like to talk about. One would be distrust, which is distrust anybody but me. So you distrust the scientists, you distrust the doctors, you distrust the press. This is all Machiavellian, very sort of Mussolini, Hitler-esque of that realm. That's the playbook. Then you move on to dehumanization of the people. So it's calling them aliens again, mass deportations, ratting you out to ICE. All of these have this sort of fertile ground that is what started in Germany during that time. So,
and one of those things, I'm not going to finish this part, but because she's said everything that all the important things that I wanted to cover here, and that is what people don't see, and it blows my mind when people don't see the correlation here. They don't see the fact that, hey, maybe this smells a little weird. Maybe when Germany is going, yeah, no, we would have arrested him. Maybe the people that made it, whose ancestors made it famous and they made it out, they recognized how bad it was and outlawed it. Maybe those people know a little bit better whether or not that was a salute. And then jumping over to the other side of the pond and cozying up to the AfD, the far right German party, and telling them that they don't need to be ashamed of their grandparents. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. If your grandparents did awful shit to people, yeah, you should feel ashamed of them. And likewise, when we're on the other side of this, because I believe we will get on the other side of this, and I talk to my nephews and my niece, and they look at my social media and they look at everything that I have said, I hope that they realize that I was trying to make a better world for them. Because at the end of the day, those are the most important people in my life. And the fact that we're giving these imbeciles, these monsters, the keys to the nuclear, the keys to the nuclear codes, the number to the nuclear codes, we're giving a foreign guy with Chinese ties all of our information with a bunch of 20-year-olds, with a bunch of 20-year-old interns. This guy does not know what SQL is. And he's talking about, oh my God, it's infuriating. The more I think about it, it is infuriating. Elon Musk sues Lego, Nestle, and more brands, accusing them of advertising boycott. This came out in the first of this month. Wild. Here we go. Elon Musk's broadened an existing lawsuit on Saturday to include several major brands, accusing more companies of illegally boycotting the social media platform in 2022. Man, this guy does not let anything go. The suit, which was filed last year in federal court in Texas, initially targeted the boycott organizer, the World Federation of Advertisers, along with companies including CVS and video streaming platform Twitch. But early on Saturday, Musk's lawyers filed an amended complaint adding several new defendants, including Lego, Nestle, Tyson Foods, Abbott Laboratories, Colgate-Palmolive, Pinterest, and Shell International. The complaint alleges that the World Federation of Advertisers was concerned that X, formerly known as Twitter, I still call it Twitter, that Twitter would stray from its brand safety initiative called Global Alliance for Responsible Media, GARM, as a result The suit said that the group prepared a large-scale pause in advertising. According to the suit, at least 18 advertisers that were part of the GARM program stopped buying ads on Twitter, either in the U.S. or globally in the weeks after Musk bought the platform in November of 2022, while other members of GARM substantially reduced, quote-unquote, their ad spending on Twitter. In turn, Twitter claims that it was deprived of billions of dollars in advertising. And the ramifications of the boycott continue to be felt for years, the suit alleged. Well, dude, maybe you shouldn't cozy up with Nazis. Maybe you should shut the fuck up. And maybe your swastikars would still be driving, would still be being sold. But now your numbers are dropping like a shit from heaven there. SpaceX is not a consumer brand, so you're not going to feel that. You're not going to feel that because you are holding the purse basically of the government that buys most of your shit. Which is our money, by the way, just to be clear. And all the while, we're not even being safe. We are not even being safe. Not only do we have children running the friggin' with all of our information, not only do we have children doing that, but now the U.S. government is sued after mass emails to federal workforce allegedly sent from insecure server. U.S. government sued after mass emails to federal workforce allegedly sent from insecure servers. So basically, but the servers. So when officials working for the incoming Trump administration decided they wanted to email the entire federal workforce last week, they didn't hang about. Far from it, a new private class action lawsuit brought by two anonymous U.S. executive branch employees alleges that they simply turned up at the HQ of the U.S. Office of Personnel Management (OPM), which handles HR, and demanded to plug in their email server and get going as soon as possible. Exactly, because that's the way you deal with secure shit. That's wonderful. The person who could have refused authorization, the one person who could have refused authorization for such a move, Melvin Brown II, who took control of the agency's IT systems only a week before, had already been sidelined. This is a coup, ladies and gentlemen. This is a coup. Auga, auga. Danger, Will Robinson. This is a fucking coup. The suit was filed after OPM sent 2 test emails to an estimated 2.3 million federal employees in a way that, the suit alleges, broke the e-government class of 2002 and was inherently insecure. Those rules require that a privacy impact assessment, PIA, be carried out first. Yeah. You need to make sure that the thing is secure. Oh, my God. Yeah. So, for those playing the home game, it's less secure. We have worse shit. We get worse products, worse turnout, worse results because we spend all of our money on a casino that is Wall Street, on rich people's feelings. And even freaking planes are falling out of the sky. Now, the plane crash, let me see here. The plane crashes that happened, like, were tragic. The helicopters, these people, the people that run the air traffic controllers, those guys are overworked and underpaid like everybody else, except they have the lives of hundreds or thousands of people a day to deal with. Like, this is out of Newsweek. The timeline of Donald Trump's impact on FAA prior to DC plane crash. Let's see here. Oh, this is only a minute long. Let's listen to this. Let's listen to this. Hold on.
In all of the perishables, our investigative team will be on scene as long as it takes in order to obtain all of the perishable evidence and all of the fact finding that is needed to bring us to a conclusion of probable cause. Our mission is to understand not just what happened, but why it happened, and to recommend changes to prevent it from happening again. Since we're just beginning our investigation, we don't have a great deal of information to share right now. We will keep you informed by giving regular updates as we learn more. Our intention is to have a preliminary report within 30 days, and the final report will be issued once we've completed all of our fact-finding and investigation. Now, we will not be determining the probable cause of the accident while we are here on scene, nor will we speculate about what may have caused this accident. So I want to stress this. It is only the NTSB that will provide information related to this investigation. We will analyze the facts and determine the probable cause of the accident and then issue a report of those determinations.
So this is a quick read on what happened. A deadly mid-air collision between American Airlines passenger jet and a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter near Washington, D.C. has raised questions about air traffic control staffing and leadership transitions in the Federal Aviation Administration. The crash, which claimed the lives of 67 people aboard both vessels, occurred just before President Donald Trump announced he appointed 22-year FAA veteran Christopher Rochelle as acting FAA administrator following the resignation of Mike Whitaker. An internal FAA report found that staffing the airport's traffic control tower was not normal for the time of day and the volume of traffic, according to New York Times. A single controller was responsible for handling both helicopters and airplanes, a task that is typically divided between two controllers. So, everything, I mean, like, look, the amount of stress that this transition has caused is kind of wild, kind of insane. It's worse than any I've seen. The other one, the first transition of power before was when Cheeto Mussolini took office the first time. That was just, he was clueless. Like, I'm sure that man looked like Beyonce at the Grammys when she was like, really? I won the award? Really? Like, it is. That's how I imagine 2016 was for him. And then this year, he shows up with a program called Project 2025, which he denied he knew about, but has so far gone, to a T. To a T. And now federal agencies are banning bar Black History Month and other special observances. This is part of the playbook, people. This is part of the playbook. This is part of the playbook. This is part of the playbook that dehumanizes people. This is part of the playbook that starts things like what happened in. I swear to God, I hate using that as the example, but that is the closest thing that we've ever had, and it hasn't even been 100 years, and we're trying to repeat the same thing. Except worse, because let's face it, the Nazis actually made good cars. So there is that. And then obviously there's what's happening in Palestine, which now Cheeto Mussolini wants to turn it into the Riviera of the Middle East. So from the Riviera to the sea. You fucking jerk. But the one tiny, teeny, weeny silver lining that we have today, ladies and gentlemen, is that good art comes from a lot of good art. Most good art comes from turmoil. And your boy Macklemore is he is going off. So we're gonna close it out by listening to this song, Macklemore's latest one. It's called "Fucked Up," and you should listen to it time and time again because the proceeds go to help Palestine. So, and it's a bop. It's a straight up bop.
Yeah. Stand for something to fall for anything. I'm sick. But it's game time. Hey, the world's on fire. We don't own no water, y'all. Inmates hired for a couple dollars, y'all. New era usher, but white supremacy is still in charge. Talking colonizing Gaza from the White House lawn. But the people mobbing. And we ain't backing off. Finally see the oligarchy and men that control us all. Tax breaks for the elite, and then they taxing y'all, killing Palestinian kids, and we getting hit with the cost. Why the fuck you think you can't afford the rent in your building, and you can't afford groceries and debt in your feelings, and you know how the West thinks. It's all about the West Banks. Call a ceasefire, then start annexing the West Bank. How you think Israel gets money for the best tanks? And Netanyahu loves Trump. He's like, yeah, thanks. That's your money, and yes, it's all connected. And they controlling your feed, the information that they censor, blocking hashtags. Can't say free Palestine. This 2 weeks in, think where we'll be around July. But you know us Americans, out of sight, out of mind, and they know it too. That's why they running game on our lives. But they got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. And Elon, we know exactly what that was, bruh. They got us fucked up. They got us fucked up. They got us fucked up. And Elon, we know exactly what that was, bruh. You can bomb a mosque, but you can't bomb faith. You can't kill people, resistance grows in the wake. And while our president sends billions to Israel safes, ethnic cleansing's never gonna make Israelis feel safe. More blood, more weapons, more money, more oppression, more hate, more fear, more walls, and more settlements. The colonizer just spoke to us at the White House. What we said was gonna happen is happening right now. Nah, they marching home. Yeah, that's resilience. Millions celebrating like the world was walking with them. You in the palm of God, no man will ever catch you flinching. They can never burn the olive tree that lives within them. The next 4 years, it's time to ride. Fuck ICE, free Congo, Sudan, and Palestine. If you still haven't said shit about the genocide, know your grandkids one day are gonna ask you why. They got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. They got me fucked up. And Elon, we know exactly what that was, bruh. They got us fucked up.
My name's DJ Swain. Thanks for hanging out.
They got us fucked up.
I'll catch you next time. Follow me on social media.
And we talking cobalt on the next one.
I'll catch you next time. Follow the hijack. The hijack the end on all socials. And free Palestine. Peace.